gentlemen, the Smothers Brothers.
Thank you very much. My brother and I would like to thank the American Comedic Academy of Comedy Awards Selection Committee and the Board of Trustees who make this occasion so wonderful. Tonight marks the golden anniversary of the Hall of Fame, 50 years of honoring the comedy greats.
The
Comedy
Hall of Fame is not 50 years old.
It's the golden anniversary of the Comedy Hall of Fame.
It's not the golden anniversary. It's two. No, just forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is the second annual Hall of Fame event. This is. And we would like to acknowledge one of the inductees from last year's program,
Mr. Jonathan Winters.
Thank you very much. I'd like to talk, just cover a brief little thing about the award. Everybody's talked about the individuals, and rightfully so. But nobody has really looked at the award. I did this to my wife. I said, look at the award. It's like a wonderful spear, you know, it's a crystal thing. I just want to, those people who are being inducted this evening, don't think it's a joke. Don't put it up in the attic if you have an attic. Don't put it up there. It'll just gather dust. A rat will try to get at it or something. Quake will destroy it. Put it in your living room. Or if you're an out-of-the-work actor in a Winnebago, put it in some section of the Winnebago. At any rate, put it where they can see it and point to it and say, damn it, I'm in the Hall of Fame, you know, for comedy. I'm very proud of my award. I haven't received many, but I got a couple of them, damn it, and it's a gas. I don't thank Mom or Dad. They said I wouldn't cut it. You know that wonderful thing about Mom and Dad believing in you? Forget it. They didn't believe in me. I couldn't put them down when they were 40. But I didn't. Shovels at Sears were expensive in those days. Above all, don't put it in the kitchen. I'll tell you why. Many of us have a cat, you know. We got one. And we don't have a dog, but that's another story. We fell on hard times a few years ago. Rascal's collar's there, though. At any rate, a kitty thinks it's a pole. You know, they'll scratch that thing. It's not a pole. Crystal. And if he can't get a little action that way, he'll turn around and spray it. And the thing turns amber. Thank you.
I don't think many of you know this, but over 30 million visitors have toured the Hall of Fame last year.
that's not
and
true.
Even more are expected this coming year.
That's not true. That's not true, Tommy.
A lot of it's true. And all of tonight's inductees have agreed to make weekend appearances at the Hall of Fame Theater for the rest of their natural lives.
That's not true either.
A lot of it's true.
Tommy, none of the inductees are obligated to
They're
make
obligated to get the award, to make
No,
perform-
they're obligated to
There's an open mic night, and I know that on Thursday nights, I know Bob Hope will show up. He likes to do that.
No, Tommy, none of them are going to do that. And another thing, how many did you say appeared last year?
I said at the Hall of Fame, the actual Hall of Fame, I said it's 30 million visitors.
Are you sure the figure is correct? 30 million?
Absolutely, 30 million
That's
visitors.
more than went to Disney World.
Amazing, isn't it? Many of the all-time comedy greats, including Jimmy Durante, Lucille Ball, and Jack Benny, are enshrined in the Hall of Fame, actually entombed there, and it's very difficult to get in and impossible to get out. It's a beautiful building, has a nice cafeteria. If you order pie, they throw it in your face.
I mean, none of that's true. none of it's true.
A lot of it's true.
None of it is true.
Be that
enough-
as it may,
enough.
it's not important.
No,
What is important is the Hall
What
of
is
Fame.
important is why we're here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're here to honor George Carlin. And you can't talk about George Carlin without mentioning the famous case where George tried to educate us about the 7 words that couldn't be used on television.
What 7 words you couldn't? What 7
There
words?
was, there was just 7 words. In his album, the class clown entered territory that no one had ever explored.
What are these 7
Just
words?
7 words, Tom. They were 7 words.
I was just wondering what
now,
the 7 words
one
were.
of George's famous characters also was the hippy-dippy weatherman.
Was one of the words you couldn't say?
George Carlin joined up with straight man Jack Burns for also a successful stint as a comedy team.
Well, was it? Was it?
Yes, it was, Tommy. And it's still not, it cannot be said on television today.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Carlin.
Thank you very much. About 2 years ago, when George Schlatter first told me about his idea for a Comedy Hall of Fame, I said to him, George, this is the kind of thing comedians should be making fun of. I mean, a Hall of Fame for people whose job it is to ridicule and make fun of others. So this year, when I got a call, and they told me they actually wanted to induct me into this Hall of Fame, I thought, what a fine idea. What a fine idea, and what an interesting concept. A Hall of Fame to honor those of us who ridicule and make fun of others. So, having done my share of ridicule, I would rather use this occasion to thank a few people. And first of all, the comedians who inspired me, especially beginning with the radio comedians, almost all of them, but in particular, Henry Morgan, Fred Allen, and Spike Jones. All of these names are important to me. I'm going to say them slowly. You don't have to acknowledge them all at the moment if you don't want, but they all mean something to me. In the movies, the Marx Brothers, the Ritz Brothers, Danny Kaye, Bob Hope, Red Skelton, Martin and Lewis. On television, Sid Caesar, Ernie Kovacs, Steve Allen, and Red Buttons. And I certainly can't forget Bob and Ray, Stan Freberg, and Mad Comics. Then, that was the childhood set. Then there was my second set of inspirations, the stand-up comedians of the 1950s, the ones who turned comedy around and changed it forever. People who opened doors for people like me and Richard. Lenny Bruce, Mort Saul, Shelley Berman, Jonathan Winters, Nichols and May, Dick Gregory, Bob Newhart, and the great, great, great Lord Buckley. Now, each of the comedians I've mentioned was important to me. Each one of them showed me something a little different about comedy, something that I needed to know, and I thank them all for that. I also want to thank the man who was my comedy partner when I began my career, Jack Burns, formerly of the exciting young comedy team Burns and Carlin. And I had 2 great years with Jack, and he taught me quite a few things as well, most of which are better left unreported. But during those 2 years, I met the other person whom I must thank. I've never had the opportunity to make this kind of speech, so this is long overdue. I met my wife, Brenda, 35 years ago in a nightclub in Dayton, Ohio. And the second thing that attracted me to her was her sense of humor. And she has taken every step of this trip with me. In the beginning, she sat in the back of those bad nightclubs and had to watch my second show when the 12 people in the audience had already seen my first show, and I was forced to do the B material. She gave birth to our miraculous daughter, Kelly, who once slept on the stage right near me all through a show I did in a college in Georgia. She was 9 years old. Kelly, not Brenda. And then in 1970, when I discovered I had to follow my heart and go from a suit and tie to a beard and jeans and take a pay cut of about 80%, Brenda never blinked, even though it meant walking away from the purchase of our very first home, which was in escrow at the time. And you know what she said? When I told her what I wanted to do, she said, "I'm gonna make up your new press kit." She's the best I could ever have wished for. So Brenda, thank you, thank you. And Brenda, as they say on these occasions, half of this belongs to you. And I promise you, later on, when we sell this thing, I'll split the money with you. Thanks, everybody, very, very much. Thank you.